they're going to need to make some threes here tonight if they're going to win this game.
And this is a senior-dominated Hartford Hawk team that plays 5 guys, all 5, well, 7 guys, but the 5 starters all average over 30 minutes per game. 88% of their minutes and 82% of their points come from their starting 5 seniors.
Well, their lowest scoring, they go right inside to Sam Schweitz, living up to what Paul was saying. And another key tonight for UMBC, I think, is going to be to keep Sam Schweitz out of foul trouble, because they're a much deeper team when they can get good minutes out of him.
We apologize for the scoreboard bug. We'll keep you posted. The Retrievers lead the Hawks 2-0 early on. Schweitz, a junior, missed all of last year in UMBC's run to the NCAA tournament and beyond, for that matter.
And with Dan Ocken and Max Curran going out for the season, he's become a very important part of this team.
Jason Dunn, the Matawan, New Jersey native, misses his first 3-point attempt. Dunn with over 90 3-pointers on the year, second only to Cameron Healy in the conference. And this one will be out of bounds off Hartford.
And there's Ryan Odom in his 3rd year. John Gallagher was saying to me yesterday that he thinks Ryan Odom's done a better job this year than last year when UMBC went to the tournament and pulled that stunning upset against Virginia, because this team's had to deal with so many injuries, the loss of their starting backcourt, and he's been able to adapt his team to have success.
Sherburne inside for Schweitz, who's fouled from behind by Travis Wetherington, and Sam Schweitz will go to the charity stripe for UMBC. Take a look here at the foul from behind.
Good pass here from Joe Sherburne. He's become such a good passer this year, and the help gets there too late, and they're probably better off with Schweitz on the free throw line than giving up a dunk.
Just to put the numbers behind Ryan Odom's performance here at UMBC in 3 years. The 7 years,
banked it in.
Old-fashioned style. The 7 previous years, the Retrievers before Ryan Odom won 41 games total, 66 now under Ryan. John Gallagher's put together a couple of great years now for Hartford.
Well, 2 best seasons in Hartford history. They won 19 games last year, made it to the semifinals of the conference tournament. They've won 18 this year, and they're back in the semifinals of the conference tournament. 2 best seasons ever in Hartford history. And you say, what about when Vin Baker was there? Their best season with Vin Baker on the team, they won 16 games. So 2 coaches who've done remarkable jobs here tonight.
When was the last time the Retrievers led 3-0 and Sam Schweitz had all the points?
I'm going to give you never.
Yeah, I think never is probably right. Missed by George Blagojevic the first time out for Hartford. And now KJ Jackson with the runner in the lane.
Nice little runner by Jackson. We all know he can penetrate. The question is finishing, and there he got squared up and finished nicely. And to your point about Hartford's 5 senior starters, the lowest average points per game of the 5 is Travis Wetherington at 9.6. The highest average of anybody coming off the bench is 2.6.
There's that pressure. The Retrievers extending out well past the 3-point line. And that's John Carroll now in the corner. And only 3 seconds to shoot. And look at the Retriever bench.
I think they're going to give it to Hartford, and I'm not sure. I mean, somebody should come in and help there.
They're going to give it to Hartford along the sideline.
Let's see here if there is a deflection. And Idle Rock definitely touched that ball. That's the right call. 3 seconds on the shot clock. So that was the right call. Idle Rock knocked it loose from John Carroll.
It'll be ball in right in front of the UMBC bench. 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Every team's got to play in this situation. They got off a decent shot from Carroll, but a short line drive.
5 shot clock violations for Albany last week. And Sherburne for 3.
And that's a sight we haven't seen as much as in past years, but John Gallagher needs a quick timeout here. 8-0 start for the Retrievers. And to your point about the 30-second violations, and we'll see Sherburne here making the 3. Quick catch and shoot, the old catch and shoot Joe. And KJ Jackson recognizes his guys open, and the defense was turned around. And Sherburne recognized it and made the shot. But John Gallagher told me that he would rather have a 30-second violation, Gary, because they're not as good an offensive team as they were a year ago. So the more opportunities they get to not let the other team set up their defense, the better off they are.
And to illustrate how different this team is from years past, that 3-pointer by Joe Sherburne was only his 4th in the last 5 games.
There were times when he made 4.5 last year.
J.R. Lynch off glass and in, first 2 for Hartford, and what a season J.R. Lynch is putting together.
He's been superb, and again, what makes him so dangerous is he'll burn you with a 3, But if you come up and guard him, he'll put it on the floor like he did there and get inside. And if you foul him, he's going to make his free throws. 15 out of 16 here last month.
28 points against UMBC here in this building. First team all-conference for the native of Hoboken, New Jersey. Just on the other side of the Lincoln Tunnel.
Second most famous native of Hoboken, New Jersey.
Frankie. Lamar tries to throw one up on the foul from Dunn. That should be a foul on the floor.
It is a foul on the floor, and he had to throw it up because there was only 1 second on the shot clock. So he got bailed out there, actually. Not a very smart foul, because there you see he's making a shot fake, and he's going to have to fling the ball up, and the foul comes and gives UMBC a new 20-second clock. That's a tough shot.
That foul was the first on Dunn. That's the second on the Hawks.
That's my Bill Raftery euphemism for not a very good shot.
Sherburne on the miss. Hartford comes back trailing by 6. The Hawks lead the all-time series 19-16, but they've never beaten UMBC in the postseason. Travis Weatherington with a corner 3.
And we all know how hot he can get. Last year he had a game in which he had 10 3-point makes. So there's nobody on this team, Hartford, that you can kind of lay off defensively. They can all score.
Jackson trying to dunk one inside, I think, for Schweitz, but he caught the rim on it.
He overthrew it.
And the Hawks come the other way. And it's funny you mentioned that 10 3-pointer game by Weatherington. That was against Binghamton. The next game for them was here at UMBC.
Had none.
That's UMBC held them well. Blagojevic sends it back out towards Lynch. Retrievers extend their defense.
And this is where he's just going to take off for the basket here. It's what he does when the clock gets under 10. And good pass.
Scoops one in for Blagojevic. And the rebound to Lamar.
And Ryan Odom said before the game, they've got to be aware when the shot clock gets to 10 that's when Lynch is at his most dangerous.
Lamar for 3, rattles in.
Did he call the rattle?
He didn't call the rattle, but it still goes.
That was a deep 3. And he got some of his shooting confidence back Saturday when he made 3 threes. He'd been very cold from outside the 3-point line prior to Saturday. And I thought Arkel Lamar's play at both ends was the key to that victory on Saturday.
Definitely in the first half, and a great first half. Weatherington corner 3, no good. KJ Jackson the rebound. The Retrievers 2 for 2, or correction, Idle Rock the rebound. The Retrievers 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Sherburne gets a screen.
It was a good-looking shot there. It just didn't go in. Good-looking, I mean, in the sense that he was squared up, and shooter like that, you expect to make that shot, especially after he made his first one. Good hands there by Lamar.
Pass intended for Carroll, and a timeout on the floor. 14:44 left to play in the first half. Arkel Lamar from straight away, a downtown 3, has given the Retrievers a 6-point lead as we go to break.
Mike Krzyzewski, when he was coming up as a coach, don't be afraid to call an early timeout if your team isn't playing well. Get them together, get their act together. And on a team like this, they're not going to panic with 5 seniors in the starting lineup.
Well, here's an interesting substitution. Early, Max Twyman checks into the ballgame, a redshirt senior from Rye, New York. Only, 5.5 minutes in. That's fairly early for Twyman. Carroll with a floater from just outside the lane. Rebound. Brandon Horvath is checked in and pulls it down.
And Twyman is also a senior. The 7 guys who will get 95% of the minutes, maybe more, are all seniors.
This is a play that the Retrievers have excelled in the last couple of games. KJ Jackson inside for Horvath.
And we talk about the guard skills that Horvath has and his long arms. He also has good hands. And that's why you can throw him a pass. It doesn't have to be perfect, and he'll catch it and finish as he did there.
There's Carroll facing up with Sherburne. 15 to shoot here for the Hawks. Horvath uses those arms, and the Retrievers in transition. Lamar finishes.
Little Euro step there from Arkel Lamar. And again, John Gallagher telling his players, stay calm. It's very early. I mean, Paul mentioned the 16-7 lead. That's not that different from 15-5.
Retrievers on a 7-0 spurt here in the last minute and a half. Everyone scored for UMBC.
That's a block.
Except for Idle Rock.
Wow,
no block.
Call.
They leave it, they let it go.
Wow. I would think you'd call something there. And Jackson misses, but Sherburne's there to finish.
A 9-0 run in 2 minutes.
And that's an example of a live ball turnover that John Gallagher was saying his team had to avoid. Even though Jackson didn't finish, Sherburne was there trailing because the Hawks didn't get back.
The Hawks are 2 for 8. The Retrievers are 7 for 10.
7 for 10's better. Mathematician that I am.
You are a wizard.
I am a wizard.
I think your math skills have really improved the last couple of years.
I think working with you has done it.
J.R. Lynch for 3.
A tough shot by J.R. Lynch, and by that I don't mean bad shot, but Sherburne was out there with a hand in his face.
Horvath, 2 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds.
Deuces are wild.
A blocking foul called on Lynch as Sherburne was trying the baseline.
And John Gallagher saying, what? And I think he was moving. Let's see if what we see on the replay here. Sherburne, it looked like Sherburne might have gotten an elbow out there. He was certainly moving. So the question was, do you call the block because the defender's moving, or do you call it offensive because Sherburne's left elbow might have come out a little bit?
First foul on J.R. Lynch. Checking in for UMBC, Ricky Council, the junior transfer from Providence College.
And you know, when it's not going your way, those block charge calls tend not to go your way. It's basketball.
Good catch by Idle-Rock in the corner to keep that one alive. Idle-Rock, the freshman from Barking Abbey Prep School in England. Daniel Ocken went there too. He's out for the year. KJ Jackson with the turnaround floater.
He's worked on that shot. You've seen him take and make that shot more in the last couple of weeks. The one thing I would add to what Paul said about the last Hartford game here, this is a much better UMBC team than the team that played here a month ago. They've improved in so many ways.
That's 4 for KJ Jackson. Blagojevic is fouled by Horvath, and he'll go to the line.
And Hartford needed that before the timeout.
Timeout on the floor with 11:58 left to go in the first. KJ Jackson, the transfer from Temple College, in the lane for UMBC.
He said, thank goodness I had the whole team around me to get me through it. And I said, do you want me to signal scores across the court? He said, no, I don't want to know anything. I got enough on my mind.
Hey, let me tell you a quick story about Chipperelli's. In my first life, I worked there.
Did you really?
2 years.
It's a great restaurant.
I loved it.
Great restaurant. I love Little Italy, but Chipperelli's might be my favorite. Chipperelli's and Villeggia.
Right, which is no longer there. And
is it gone?
It's gone.
Sabatino's is there.
Sabatino's is right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm sorry, Villeggia is gone. I didn't realize that. But Sabatino's and Chipperelli are great. So nervous night for Matt Mihalik. And by the way, his brother Joe Jr. is an assistant at Penn, and they'll be in the Ivy League semifinals on Saturday. So the dream of 3 Mihaliks in the NCAA tournament, as of this moment, lives.
George Blagojevic makes 1 of 2 for Hartford. The Retrievers now on the offensive end, leading by 13. KJ Jackson with a 3, kept alive by Sherburne.
Well, that's why Joe Sherburn's such a good player. Most guys get a rebound, their instinct is to go right up. He saw an open man.
And John Carroll gets the block on the Horvath putback. Here's Jackson inside the lane, and he keeps it alive. What a possession for UMBC. And finally, Horvath tips it in.
The long arms of Brandon Horvath. I got Joe Sherburne and Brandon Horvath, but we've talked about his long arms there, and he did that in a key moment on Saturday against Albany. Just reached up with an arm and tipped it in.
Paul mentioned 81% of UMBC's points in the paint over the last few games. 14 of 19 tonight. Weatherington outside for Dunn, who has yet to score. Weatherington comes open and buries it.
And that's 2 threes for Weatherington. He's been most of their offense so far tonight.
Weatherington with 6. Hartford has 9. The Retrievers lead by 12. Coming up at the 10-minute mark here in the first.
Hartford showing some zone here, trying to find something that'll slow the Retrievers down a little bit.
The zone was effective against UMBC back here last month.
Very.
Council for 3. And that's going to be on Horvath over the back.
And again, there's Brandon Horvath with that bad habit of not only reaching on that play, but then kind of complaining about the call. Referees noticed that. And that's 2 fouls, and he just signaled to the bench that he didn't want to come out. But Ryan Odom's going to take him out.
Schweitz will come back in for UMBC.
And this is where long arms can be a disadvantage on occasion, because you see he reaches in. There wasn't a lot of contact, but because he reached, he got called for the foul.
4 minutes for Horvath, 4 points, 4 rebounds. And now the 4s are wild.
It's consistent. Thank goodness it's not 4 fouls.
He's halfway there. That's why I took him out.
Yep, had to. That's a kick.
Wetherington couldn't handle it.
He just kicked it.
Schweitz active inside.
Wow, that time they called the elbow.
And that's the first on Ricky Council. This one on the offensive end. And it'll come back the other way with less than 10 to play.
He did get the elbow out. There wasn't a heck of a lot of contact, though. I think John Gallagher, and this is what good coaches do, complaining about the call over here that was called a block, probably bought him that call. That's what you do when you're a coach. You complain not for that call, but for the next one.
Carroll inside, has it stripped away by Schweitz.
It's twice Carroll's had the ball knocked loose going to the basket. Unusual for him.
Carroll.
Wow. Wow.
Great finish by Idlerock all the way.
He's gotten so much better at that in the last couple of weeks, gaining confidence. He's been in the lineup most of the year for ball handling and defense, but he's gained a lot of confidence with his offense.
Before he went out those 2 games with the hand, he was averaging almost 9 points per game.
And Ryan Odom said they really missed him in those 2 games.
Retrievers have missed 103 games overall, all their players combined. And again, Carroll with a miss, off to a slow start.
And it's worth noting that Brandon Horvath was out the last time these 2 teams played. That should be a jump ball. Yeah.
It is a jump ball in possession arrow Hawks.
Hartford ball.
Take a look here. See if anybody reaches in.
Didn't see a reach in there. I think that's a good call.
Good call.
You're wrapping the ball up. No, I mean, I understand why KJ Jackson would campaign for a foul, but I did not think there was a foul there.
John Carroll sits down for Hartford. Checking into the basketball game is Romain Boxes, a junior from Belgium, 6'6", 210.
He's the only senior who gets, the non-senior who gets some playing time for this team.
They basically go 7 deep. And off the glass and in, Blagojevic, and a foul.
Nice move by Blagojevic there.
The foul, I believe, will be on Council.
Oh, he called it on the floor. He called it before the shot. Yeah. That's a break for UMBC. Only the 4th team foul, so no shots at all.
The foul's on Schweitz. That's number 1.
It's also a break for UMBC that it's only his first foul, almost 12 minutes in.
They had 2 early ones against Albany. Mitchell pop. Blagojevic runs it down.
And that's a break for UMBC too, because you expect that shot to go in.
Hawks are 2 for 7 from beyond the arc. Dunn, they keep it alive here, often miss.
Session's never over. Wow. Interesting what's going on here. Officials not calling some block charge situations and then calling other things that don't really look like fouls.
This one will be on Schweitz, and all of a sudden he's picked up his 2nd. Blagojevic made a move.
And it's interesting that Larry Sirotto doesn't call anything here when Schweitz goes down. He could have called a block or a charge there. And then no call, and then as Schweitz dives for the ball and barely makes contact, he's called for a foul. Also on the floor, but the 5th foul now for UMBC.
And Ryan Odom goes to the bench. He summons Nolan Garrity, the senior from Cleveland, Ohio.
Nolan Garrity had a very solid game on Saturday. Had a couple buckets inside, a couple rebounds, and makes a steal right there.
Jose Passer in the basketball game as well for UMBC, taking the place of RJ Idlerock, another steal for the Retrievers.
It's interesting, UMBC basically has a 3-headed center now, and their 2 best inside players haven't played since January.
Passer's come a long way in conference play.
Become an offensive factor.
10 to shoot now for the Retrievers. Lamar will pop, and the rebound comes down to Boxes.
There goes Lynch, and he went right off his foot. I think they missed that. Wow, I think they really missed that one, but see if we get a replay on it.
7:36 left to play in the half. A timeout on the floor. Let's take a look as we go to break.
Right off his foot.
Indeed. It'll stay with Hartford, but it should have been with UMBC.
distinguished. I mean, Shane Battier is one. Aaron Kraft from Ohio State is another. Just guys who you would want your children to grow up and be like.
Subway proud. I'm sorry, John, proud to sponsor UMBC Athletic Scholar Athlete of the Game. Head to your locally owned Subway and make it what you want.
And I said this to Ryan Odom this afternoon, and I think this is something the school should consider. Given the player that Joe Sherburne has been, what he's helped done in changing the culture here, and what he's done as a student, why not retire his number? There are no retired numbers in this building.
Great pass from Sherburne to Garrity.
Right on cue, thank you. The two seniors combining. And I would throw Jairus Lyles into that mix in terms of a retired number. How much did he mean to this program?
16-point lead is the largest of the night for UMBC.
And I'll make one last point and then I'll shut up. Both of them played their senior years as graduate students. And it tells you a lot about the two of them.
Both stuck around, no doubt. And the offensive foul inside.
That's traveling.
Traveling on Blagojevic. Another turnover. That's 6 now for the Hawks.
And this is Hartford is a very good offensive team. They've got 9 points so far. Here you see Blagojevic, and there's the extra step as he tried to back in on Garrity. And that was caused by Garrity's excellent defense. He had great position.
Paul in the open was talking about the retriever scoring droughts against the Hawks earlier in the year. Hartford now almost 5 minutes without a bucket early on, without a point early on.
That's very unusual. That's not. He's become such a good offensive player.
The retriever's ability to penetrate tonight has been the biggest difference.
Well, and that's the way Hartford plays defense. They do not attack you defensively. They basically back up and say, we're going to stop you when you get in the lane. Only UMBC's done an excellent job of stopping and popping in the lane. We've seen several guys do that tonight. KJ Jackson, Placer there, Sherburne earlier.
Look at this defense from UMBC outside the three-point line. Getting a hand in is Lamar.
Tied him up.
And it is a jump ball.
And it'll be UMBC ball.
20 points in the paint for the Retrievers tonight.
And going back to defense, we talked about this on Saturday. That doesn't show up in the stats for Arkel Lamar, but he created a turnover there. And he had a bunch of plays, and especially, as you noted in the first half Saturday, where he helped create a turnover. Didn't show up in the stats, but it was just as real. Hartford still in that zone. And again, they will back up and give you room to get in the lane, like I said. And that's a foul on John Carroll.
First foul on the senior from Dublin, Ireland. And it'll send Garrity to the line.
Really good passing here. We talked about the interior passing against Albany, and it's continued here tonight. The only problem with that foul for UMBC is if Nolan Garrity makes 1 out of 2, it's a pretty good trip for him. He's the classic 50% free throw shooter. I think he went for the bank there. He banked one in Saturday.
No, well, Schweitz banked one in earlier.
No, tonight. But Saturday, Garrity banked one in, I believe.
I think it's what the Retrievers do now. The bigs just
bank it in. That's what they practice, yeah. Whatever works. And they're 1 for 2.
Speaking of free throw shooting, by the way, and we know the Retrievers aren't the greatest free throw shooting team, but last 6 games, while their three-point shooting is sunk, their free throw shooting is 76%.
Which is up from about 67% prior to that.
Hands from Idle Rock, and here's a transition for UMBC.
Got a little fancy there, Idle Rock did. Should have just gone straight to the basket and allowed himself to get fouled. And they are swarming on defense.
Dunn working hard.
Nice play by Dunn there. Had to spin about 3 times. Sherburne didn't want to foul him, and he got to the basket for the layup.
First points for Hartford in almost 6 minutes. Dunn now with his first points tonight.
And that's only their 4th field goal.
4 for 15. They have double the turnovers than buckets.
And that usually doesn't lead to wins.
That's an astute observation.
There you go. I know my hoops, right? Stick with me.
Sherburne, the fadeaway.
Good hustle by Garrity.
Foul by Twyman.
And it's a non-shooting foul, so UMBC will get another possession. Garrity's over there slapping 5 with the fans. Here you go. Sherburne just misses. Garrity keeps it alive. You talk about Horvath's long arms. Garrity using his arms to keep that ball alive and get a new possession for his team.
First on Twyman, fifth on the team. It's a foul on the floor, new shot clock.
And that's the clock is at 30 because Sherburne's shot hit the rim. I know them calling out a play.
Placer, the freshman from Orlando, has fit in nicely with this group in the conference schedule. Got off to a slow start, got 22 in a big game against Albany, his best of the campaign, and he banks it in.
Oh, great fake, ball fake there by Placer. Hartford was looking for him to pass it to Garrity because they've done that so often tonight. They backed off him, and he was open for that short bank shot.
Every player has scored now for UMBC in this game, except for Ricky Council. And this time, John Carroll drives.
He used his quickness there to beat Garrity and draw the foul.
And he'll go to the line when we return. 3:52 left to go in the half. Jose Placer, the freshman from Orlando, sharpening his offensive skills off the glass.
Hey.
A career game, by the way, for Steph Smith in Vermont. 23 points in that game against Binghamton right now. They lead at 45-19. There's John Gallagher on the sideline, former co-coach of the year here in the America East back in 2018.
Played at St. Joseph's under Phil Martelli, classic Philly guy. In fact, he was telling me that last week when Fran Dunphy and Temple came to play at UConn, he went to the game because it was Dump's last game on the road and he had a chance to go. And his wife said, "Don't you have to get ready for your game on Saturday?" And John said, "I have to be there for Dump." And when Fran Dunphy came out of the locker room and saw John and his wife there, and they started talking, he said Dump just started weeping because he was so touched that John made the effort to get to that game. Fran Dunphy, one of the class acts in the history of basketball.
No doubt. Here's Lamar inside. He
What a move.
Foul, and he gets it to go.
What a move. There was nothing wrong with Hartford's defense there. Lamar just made a tough shot.
That foul is on Blagojevic. That is number 1. Lamar will be at the line. Those 2 free throws, by the way, for Carroll, averaging 15 points per game. His first 2 points tonight.
John Carroll, one of my all-time favorite players, because 2 years ago he said he lost weight by giving up beer.
That'll do it, by the way.
And it will do it. And coming from an Irishman, you can certainly understand it.
It's not easy. Checking into the basketball game, number 25, DJ Mitchell, a freshman. How often do we say that?
Well, that's John Gallagher looking for, he's searching right now, searching for help.
Out of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey.
Used to be a great restaurant called the Old Salt in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey.
20-point lead for UMBC. Here's Carroll with a spin on Lamar. They double down quick on that.
They sure did.
Back to Carroll. Now he'll try to
nice
face.
Pass.
Oh, he found Weatherington
really nice
inside.
Pass there.
Very patient.
Nice cut by Weatherington. Good look by Carroll out of the low post.
There's some pressure now from Weatherington in the backcourt. Rivers make it up past midcourt.
Next 3 minutes are critical to both these teams. Hartford needs to cut into this lead before halftime.
PJ Jackson strong inside.
Walked.
Josh Rosario will get called for the travel, the sophomore out of Miami.
Josh Rosario played a key role 2 Saturdays ago in UMBC's comeback from an 18-point deficit against New Hampshire. Came off the bench when Ryan Odom was searching, much the way John Gallagher's been searching tonight, and gave UMBC a huge lift defensively and a huge lift in energy in that rally.
He was plus 17 on the floor. He was on the floor for the entire comeback in the second half.
Well, they were down 18.
There's Mitchell. Dunn trying to get free from Jackson. And KJ Jackson plastered all over Jason Dunn.
Very aggressive defense on the perimeter.
Here's Carroll to the basket. Nice floater from John Carroll.
John Carroll's really given his team a boost here in the last 3 possessions. Got to the basket for 2 free throws, made a really pretty pass for a layup, and hits a fadeaway jumper there. That's 6 quick points that they need. Actually cut the lead to 16.
2 minutes left to play in the half.
Jackson, that was not a smart play by Jackson. Dribbled right into the teeth of the defense.
Mitchell up ahead. Rejected by Lamar.
And that was a great play by Arkel Lamar. Didn't give up on the possession. Hustled back. Clean block of the freshman.
Another great crowd on hand tonight, by the way. People in the upper deck as well.
Which I don't think we've actually seen since opening day here.
Let's take a look at Lamar.
Watch
from
him.
behind.
Gets the angle, blocks it cleanly. You can't do a better job of that's a textbook. That next year, when the NCAA does its preseason, and Ryan Odom's saying it should be 1-1 because that's a set. If that's a foul, that should be the 7th foul of the half.
I think he's right.
I know he's right. Ryan Odom's not wrong much.
He's on top of it. 66 wins in 3 years under Ryan Odom, 41 in 7 before him. As John Gallagher now wants an explanation.
I don't know what the question is. It's definitely the 7th foul. John's looking at the scoreboard because the scoreboard's wrong. That's where John Gallagher's confused. The scoreboard says 6, and that was the 7th foul. And Ryan Odom's assistants, they know without looking at the scoreboard how many fouls there have been. So John Gallagher's saying, but the scoreboard says 6, and now he's having it explained to him that yes, the scoreboard's wrong. The scoreboard's only human.
So DJ Mitchell commits the foul. That's number 1. Josh Rosario at the line for 1-1. The Retrievers have committed 16 fouls.
Didn't you get my line? I said the scoreboard's only human. That was pretty funny.
You know what? On second thought, you're right. I was going to let it slip away, but I guess you brought it back.
Well, I don't say funny things that often. When I do say something funny, I want credit for it.
Tell me about it.
You love me.
2 for 2 for Rosario, and the Retrievers.
Brother you never wanted.
Leaded by.
See, that was funny.
That was funny. 18 now for UMBC.
Rosario steps the line coolly on 1-1. Remember how much trouble the Retrievers had earlier in the season with 1-1s?
Quick double on Carroll, baseline. Leaves Lynch open.
I've been fortunate that Lynch has missed at least 3 wide open shots. And Dunn, who's also a good shooter, has missed a couple himself.
2 open looks, 0 for 2.
Those are shots the Hawks are supposed to make, both of them. Wide open, good shooters.
The Hawks are the best three-point shooting team in the conference at 38%. Sherburne as the Red Sea parts.
And no defensive help there inside. That's where Hartford's supposed to be strongest defensively, is inside.
7 points for the grad students.
See if they go 2 for 1 here. Hartford with 45 seconds to go. And they catch a break there, get a foul, and that'll be like going 2 for 1 because it'll be 1-1 for Lynch, who almost never misses free throws.
First foul on Rosario. Let's take a look at Sherburne's trip down the lane.
What's this? Where's the help? Dunn just doing a little matador act there, and Sherburne goes right by him.
Here's a Sherburne line, John. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
And no B's.
No B's. Never.
Never.
Not a 1.
You gave him a B 2 years ago.
I didn't give it to him.
You were reading the scholar athlete thing.
I should have known better.
And we needed his dad to correct it.
Mr. Sherburne gave us a buzz.
He was at the game.
He was here.
And he came over, and he couldn't have been nicer. You guys are great. We love you. But Joe's never had a B.
Yeah. Just an FYI, guys. The other night, the 3.75 should have been a 4.
Yep.
Lynch misses the second of 2. Retrievers now with about a 12-second differential.
I thought that was going in, and with a 2-second difference on the shot clock now, Hartford can play for 1, and they do get the first possession of the second half. So this is a critical possession for both teams. Big difference psychologically, because Hartford goes off the court with a basket, they'll feel much better about themselves. Not great, but better.
Jackson locked in on Lynch, 7 to shoot.
He wants to shoot a 3.
Over Placer, and it rolls out. Retrievers have a moment here. Let's see.
He got fouled. I thought he got fouled.
No call on the shot, and the shot is over the stanchion, and that's the end of the first half. It's just about all you can ask for in terms of UMBC.
In the paint, no live ball turnovers, and he said you're going to cut this lead in half in the first 5 minutes, guys.
Well, I was about to say that I think the first 5 minutes of this second half are going to be critical to what kind of night we're going to have here. Hartford obviously needs to make a move, maybe get the lead down to 12 or 13 by the first TV timeout.
The Hawks shooting just 28% from the field, 20% from beyond the arc. Carroll
was deflected by KJ Jackson.
And Sherburne picks it up inside the lane.
And that's not what John Gallagher was looking for in a start. was a deflected shot leading to a turnover.
Speaking about UMBC's aggressive defense, how about KJ Jackson 30 feet from the basket blocking that shot?
And cleanly.
Here's KJ on the other end. 7 to shoot, back door goes for Lamar.
What a nice pass by Joe Sherburne there. And again, John Gallagher was talking about stopping those shots in the paint. His team has been almost passive defensively. They do retreat and give you the chance to get in the lane, but they're supposed to stop passes like that because of the way they play defense, especially in that zone.
Lamar with 10. Carroll now 1 for 5 from the field. Dunn misfires, but Carroll runs it down on the baseline.
Yeah, that wasn't a smart foul by Idle Rock at all. But watch Joe Sherburne here. A nice pass, and there you see just a nice back cut. Dunn beaten cleanly, and there's no help at all. And by the way, to the point John Gallagher made to Paul, since January 28th, they had a big team meeting, kind of a come-to-Jesus type of team meeting on January 28th. They were 10-12, 3-4 in the league. And they all talked about giving more. There's a nice move. No, I'm not sure he didn't carry the ball. But since then, coming into tonight, they'd won 8 out of 10, including winning here in mid-February.
Lynch now with 5 for the Hawks.
Which is why that first half, I'm sure, shocked both John Gallagher and his team. I don't think they expected to be up 19, but they didn't expect to be down 19. Good look by Schweitz. Tough catch and shoot, and he makes it.
He has gotten so much better offensively.
What I mean by tough catch and shoot is Idle Rock had to reach with his left hand to catch it and then recover and shoot right-handed. Usually that's a miss. Not tonight.
Nice touch from the freshman. He's got 5, and the lead back to 22 now. Or up to 22, I should say, for UMBC.
And right now, Joe Sherburne is stalking Lynch.
That's an interesting match.
I know him likes that size and smart, and those smarts from Sherburne. That's a foul. Good pass inside.
Yeah, good look inside to Blagojevic from Dunn. And the big 6'8" senior from Australia will go to the line. That's the first foul on Lamar.
And watch how Idle Rock has to reach with his left hand to catch the ball. He couldn't really see it, but he did. Trust me. And then he drills that 3. And Hartford's kind of bailout offense, when they're not shooting well or when the shot clock gets under 10, is to do what they've done on the last 2 possessions, which is get to the basket. And they need to do that more often if they're going to make a move here.
Blagojevic, a first season starter in his senior year, went from 4.5 points a game last year to over 14 this year. But he misses the second of 2.
They're a very good free throw shooting team. And first half, they were decent, 4 out of 6, but not great.
74% from the line as a team, top 3 in the conference.
5 for 8 tonight, that's 62%. Showing off my math skills again.
There's Lamar now facing up on Dunn.
Oh, nice pass. I was about to say tough shot. And he fooled me and he fooled the Hartford defense.
Schweitz connects from Lamar.
Again, good defense there as Lynch tried to go to the basket.
Transition now.
Yeah, they're going to call that a charge. KJ Jackson was out of control.
That's 1 on KJ Jackson.
Ryan Odom not happy with that call. Usually it's going to go against you when you're out of control, and KJ Jackson looked like he was out of control. I didn't have a good view from here on whether it was a block or a charge in terms of when the contact came. Ryan Odom did have a better view than I did. He might be a little more biased.
Maybe. That's the 3rd team foul on UMBC early here, just 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that's not a good thing for UMBC.
Again, Schweitz all over the shooter, Dunn.
Again, good defense on the interior by UMBC. They know that Hartford's going to try to get inside to try to get back in this game.
The Retrievers held Albany in the 30s field goal percentage in the quarters. Now it's in the 20s.
Didn't turn it over there.
9 to shoot. Wide open, KJ Jackson.
And that's the first time all year I think he's made a completely wide open 3.
Those aren't as easy as they look.
No, they're not. They're very hard mentally because you're thinking too much most of the time.
That's 7 for Jackson and a steal for Jackson. Both ends of the floor.
That's why he was on the all-defensive team. Remarkable Schweitz was able to even get a hand on that pass. If that goes in, John Gallagher's got to call timeout. He may need one anyway.
And not only that, but the house explodes.
Yep. Good hands.
Idle Rock.
Well,
what a defensive performance. Back-to-back conference playoff games for UMBC.
they wanted to get the lead down to 12. It's 26.
15:48 left in this one. The Retrievers by 26 on ESPN+.
His dad, Joe, is down 42-26 to Northeastern in the CAA final right now. So it's probably fortunate for Joe Mahalik Jr. that his team, Pennsylvania, is not playing tonight.
You just saw KJ Jackson a moment ago. I wanted to clear something up. We thought that the foul was a charge on KJ Jackson a moment ago. It was actually against Idle Rock. So Idle Rock now with 2 fouls. KJ Jackson with none for UMBC. Underneath working hard is Blagojevic. That's a foul called on the Retrievers.
There's one thing you don't want to do when you have a big lead on a team that's cold is start giving up offensive rebounds, because that's the way they warm up, making those putbacks. Or a 3.
Lynch, a line drive 3.
And now they're going to press full court because they need to. And Joe Sherburne breaks that press right away. That's why Sherburne inbounds the ball most of the time, except when they want him to get fouled.
Sherburne to Idle Rock.
Boy, is he feeling it. And that's a shot no way you'd even want him to take in December. Quick answer, though.
And now Hartford just needs to shoot 3s, basically, trailing by 26.
Well, if they can make them.
Yep.
They made 2 before those last 2. So they've doubled the number of 3s they've made in the last minute.
This one far from over. It's a 23-point deficit for Hartford. Hartford came back from a 22-point deficit against Albany.
Well, that's the point that Ryan Odom made. Great rebound by Lamar. He turned it over and then made up for it with that rebound off what should have been a made layup.
Idle Rock, ball fake. Oh, that was going to be an aggressive play there by the freshman.
Well, good patience.
KJ Jackson.
Again, he was a little too open. He made the one before, but he's better shooting from the corner than from the wing.
They dump it in quickly for Blagojevic.
He's too
over
strong.
Sherburne.
He's too strong for Sherburne if they let him catch it in the post. What you have to do is deny that pass. And that's 8 quick points for Hartford. Still a 21-point deficit, but 14 minutes to go is forever in college basketball. That's why Ryan made the point to Paul at halftime about the fact that this Hartford team has come back from a 20-plus point deficit this season.
Horvath inside from Sherburne.
And now you can see the Hartford players kind of bickering with one another about who's got whom. And whoever didn't have Horvath lost him. Whoever did have Horvath lost him. And Sherburne found him.
Done for 3, and he's fouled in the corner.
Fouled shooting a 3. And that wasn't a foul R.J. Idle Rock wanted to commit.
Take a look at the corner move here.
And just a little back cut by Horvath and a good pass. Nobody, again, it's Dunn, who's gotten beaten a bunch of times tonight. And that wasn't Dunn. Sorry about that. That was Blagojevic, who should have been the guy there covering the big guy. Dunn is on the free throw line.
That's 3 fouls now on Idle Rock. Dunn at the free throw line to shoot 3.
Idle Rock's going to come out here, I think, for Ricky Council after this free throw. Partly because he's got 3 fouls, partly because he just made a mental error there with that foul in the corner. No, it's Lamar coming in. My bad. See, Ryan Odom, I'm gonna tell you this. You may not know this. He's a better coach than I am.
Seriously.
He knows his personnel.
Well, has he won more games than you?
Yes, but he's lost more games than me too.
That's true.
For the record.
Dunn's free throws trim the margin now to 21.
But it's amazing, and we've seen this for 3 years now. Ryan Odom's instincts in terms of who to put in a game and when. Twice putting guys into games in the last few seconds who hadn't made a shot all day, and they make the winning shot. There's another easy basket because, again, the defense got lost.
Horvath now with 8 off the bench. He's really made an impact the last 3 games. Apparently, he's healed from the hand injury.
That's what Ryan Odom said. He said he's completely healthy at this point for the first time in a while. And I don't know what the call was there. I thought John Gallagher was calling a timeout. He just stopped the game. Oh, I see what happened. Lynch came up limping a little bit, and since Hartford had the ball, they stopped the game to get him out.
Points in the paint, John. 32-8 UMBC.
And Hartford's only made 4 threes.
That is the difference in the game. 24-point differential there, and on the scoreboard, it's 23. Quick double in the corner. Wetherington will pop.
He's been their best shooter tonight. KJ Jackson out of control there for a moment.
Council
had a good look there. I don't know what happened. Shot a 20-footer, went 23 feet.
Nice step back from Dunn, but he misses short.
And Dunn is a good shooter. We know that. But he has had a poor shooting night tonight. He's not made a 3. 1 out of 5 from the field.
They had a little momentum, did Hartford, after those back-to-back threes.
They did, and the 2 dunks by Horvath on easy baskets have slowed him down.
Horvath to the hole.
And he gets fouled by
Carroll. Let's take a look at the move here from Brandon Horvath.
Again, that's those guard skills we talk about, because he was only 6'1" as a sophomore in high school. He can catch it on the perimeter that way, put it on the floor, and go to the basket. He's hard to guard that way. We're going to look at something on the monitor here.
I want to see if it's a shooting foul.
I don't think you go to the monitor for that. I'm just not sure. Ryan Odom's over there saying, what are we doing here? Let's see here.
Take a look.
I think they did call it a 2-shot foul. And he was going up to shoot. So if that's what they called, they had it right. I'm not sure why you need to go to the monitor for this. Let's see if there's something else that we're missing that might have caused them to do that. But I just don't know what. And I feel better that Ryan Odom didn't know what it was either.
Well, as the officials check the monitor at midcourt, the Retrievers still shooting, my goodness, 60% from the field, 59.5. This half, they're shooting 70%. Hartford shooting just 30%.
And again, this is my problem with replay. I mean, whatever it is they're looking at, it shouldn't take this long.
Okay, so they're looking at, here, watch it here. Watch the elbow from Council.
Okay.
Watch it right now. Well, not yet. There we go.
I think that's an act by Dunn, personally. I mean, he moved his arm upward. He did not throw an elbow. But I understand why they're going to the monitor. But if it's not obvious, then they shouldn't call it. They should just go, okay, it was a little bit close. We're not sure, but we don't see anything blatant. You're supposed to call a flagrant one, definition of the word, flagrant. And they're just, I don't know what they're, Horvath's going to go to the line, which he would regardless. And obviously they're not calling anything on Ricky Council, which is the right call. Again, if you can't figure it out more quickly than that, then there shouldn't be a call.
Here's a look at Council, who was with Providence College the last 2 years, well, until the previous year when he redshirted. Has been to 3 NCAA tournaments in a row now, 2 with Providence, 1 with UMBC last year as a redshirt. And Ryan Odom and his crew have them on the cusp of playing for an opportunity to do that again this year.
Well, I'd say right now they're 52 minutes and 8 seconds away. They got to get through 12:08 tonight, and then they'd have to play 40 minutes of really good basketball at Vermont. And there's 2 misses by Horvath, which frankly is surprising. He's usually a good free throw shooter.
The lead still 23 for UMBC. Carroll gets a ball screen from Blagojevic, but the retrievers switch. DJ Mitchell back in the game. Carroll will pop baseline and score. Over Lamar.
Carroll was looking around to see if he was outside the three-point line, which he was not. Either that or he was looking at the crowd. I'm not sure which. And UMBC's done a good job breaking this pressure.
6 points for Carroll. Jose Placer is checked in. Idle Rock, they leave open.
He made two where he was guarded. He misses the one where he's wide open.
Here's Lynch now.
John Gallagher saying to his players, let's get it up here quickly. And they do. And
he's hot.
Well, he's made 3 threes now.
Travis Weatherington has that ability.
As we said earlier, he made 10 in a game last year. And they cut it to 18. Who would have thought I'd have said that phrase tonight about either team?
And now they're going to pressure here.
Well, they've got to speed the game up. That's what they're trying to do, is speed the game up, because they need it to go fast.
And the retrievers are trying not to allow it.
But they need to still run their offense. And they're one and done, and here comes Lynch. And if they score here, I think Ryan Odom might consider a timeout.
Weatherington.
And they call the block.
Blocking foul call. I think it's on Idle Rock. And that would be 4 on the freshman. And a timeout on the floor. 10:31 left to go. The Hawks from Hartford University trail by as many as 28. It's down to 18.
With their pressure. And that was probably a good moment for a TV timeout to come along for Ryan Odom. Because I think the lead is going to be 16 here in a moment. And you can bet Hartford's going to keep up the pressure.
Excellent free throw shooter at 78% for Weatherington, who transferred from Palm Beach State. It is a 16-point margin. Weatherington has 16. The Hawks are on an 8-0 run in the last 110, and they pressure the basketball.
Who would think an 8-0 run would cut the lead to 16?
That is true.
Oh, that was a risky pass. No, he's okay because he was not fully in the front court there, Placer.
Sherburne with an open look.
Nope, wide right. That's a shot Joe Sherburne needs to make right at that moment in time.
All of a sudden, the tenor of this game has changed dramatically.
Well, Sherburne makes that, and it stops that run for Hartford, but instead they have a chance to cut it to 13, but he missed.
Jackson on the rebound off the Lynch miss.
Well, they're playing very physically. Officials letting him go.
Placer will launch.
That's 4 straight misses and 1 and done for UMBC, and it's going to lead to a layup.
Mitchell with Lamar. Good defense, no call.
That's twice Lamar has done a great job getting back on defense and blocking Mitchell's shots.
Again, Lamar, 10 points. You know, nothing special there.
Yeah, but he's played great defense.
2 or 3 big defensive plays, including that big block to our right.
And that was on Mitchell, too. And UMBC could use a look inside here. They've missed 4 straight jump shots. 5 straight jump shots.
Lynch runs it down in the corner, up ahead for Carroll.
Wow, what a catch by Carroll. And they called a foul on Horvath on the catch. Now, he threw the ball up, but I thought the foul was called on the catch. And that'll be the 6th-team foul on UMBC. By the way, Hartford's only had 1, and they called it a 2-shot foul. So UMBC, wheels coming off here a little bit. They need to run a set and get the ball inside.
And if you watched on that replay there, Horvath was actually slipping as Carroll was catching the basketball and got hit in the head. That's why he was shaken up, and he will come out of the game, and Sam Schweitz will check in.
Yeah, he looks a little bit shaken up. He's saying to Ryan Odom, I'm fine. He doesn't want to come out. He is a competitor.
He absolutely is.
1 out of 2 there. That helps UMBC, but its margin was 28. Now it's 15. They cut the lead almost in half in just a few minutes.
Plenty of time left in this one, and Weatherington gets called for the reach-in.
He does, but that's only the 2nd-team foul.
That's 2 on Travis Weatherington.
John Carroll getting a quick blow here.
And Carroll sits down.
As I said, UMBC, I think, needs to get the ball maybe in the hands of Joe Sherburne and let him create something inside for one of his teammates or for himself. But they've gotten a little jump shot happy, and they've gone cold. They called a palm.
Carry up.
The annual call of palming.
That's the 8th turnover for UMBC. The Hawks have committed 9.
Now, I'm going to bet KJ Jackson carried the ball here. Yeah, he did carry it, but everybody carries it on every possession.
That's 5 turnovers now for Jackson. Weatherington gets a screen.
And again, give Arkel Lamar some credit there for coming out and making that a guarded 3.
Again, won't show up in the stats.
No, doesn't show up in the stats, but important play.
The lead still 15 now with 8:40 left.
Been a while since UMBC scored. Stuck on 54.
That's too long.
That's not even close. That was a 25-footer from 20 feet.
Here's Weatherington.
They've got to stop shooting jump shots. They've got to try to get inside.
It's a long drought now for UMBC, over 4:30 without a bucket, without a point. There's Weatherington baseline, floats one. They'll go to the line for the Hawks. And the clock stops with 8:15 left to go. Take a look.
And nice drive here by Weatherington. Schweitz comes, gets called for the foul.
That's 3 on Lamar, actually. That one
called that on Lamar from behind.
So here's the foul situation now, John. 8 for UMBC, 2 for the Hawks.
Right. And some of that is just that Hartford's been very aggressive going to the basket in this half. They've made some threes to get the run started, but they've also gotten the ball inside, which Ryan Odom said today that that's when Hartford is at its most dangerous, when they just sort of put their heads down and go to the basket.
Idle Rock and Rosario in for UMBC. Placer and Lamar sit down.
Here comes Carroll after a very short rest.
The lead has now been trimmed to, I should say, the margin to 13.
John Gallagher starting to look like a seer, saying we played our worst half of the season. Now we're going to try to play our best half. And UMBC has to call timeout to get it in bounds. Joe Sherburne's usually so good at that. But couldn't find anybody open, so he uses a timeout.
And we'll take one, too, with 8:15 left to play in regulation. The UMBC Retrievers had a 28-point lead earlier in the half. The lead now down to 13.
Got shaken up a little while ago, but they need to do something to get the ball inside or make a jump shot. They've missed 6 in a row. Haven't scored since Barack Obama was president, it feels like.
The Hawks on a 12-2 run over the last 5-13. UMBC now in the front court. Jackson gets a man up and draws the foul.
He got it inside and drew the foul. Even though there was help there, John Carroll was waiting. He was able to draw the foul. That's a junior versus a freshman. And now KJ Jackson, though, needs to make a couple free throws here.
That's the second foul on DJ Mitchell.
Inconsistent free throw shooter, KJ Jackson.
A 67% free throw shooter, and the first one is good.
That helps, because if nothing else, that breaks the drought, gets him off of 54. And the next whistle will be a TV timeout, because the last timeout that was called by Ryan Odom that they were forced to call was the first called timeout of the half, so it led to that full timeout. It's such a ridiculous rule.
Well, those 2 free throws by Jackson breaks a 5-minute drought for UMBC. Corner 3 by Weatherington. Carroll outmaneuvered for the rebound by Schweitz.
Good to get a defensive stop for the Retrievers, because it's been a while since they had one.
We just got word the officials have rectified the foul situation. The foul that should have gone to Jackson that went to Idle Rock has been given to Jackson. So Jackson has 1 foul and Idle Rock has 3, and Dunn commits the foul here against the Hawks. 7:31 left to go. That'll be the 3rd foul on Jason Dunn. As we take a timeout from the event center, the Retrievers on top of the Hawks by 15 with 7:31 left to go.
Carroll hit a very tough baseline jumper, but it's also been the fact that they played better defense in this half. They gave up 37 points in the first half and had given up 17 more in the first, 7-8 minutes. But in the last 4.5, they've really clamped down on defense. In fact, UMBC still hasn't had a field goal in a while. They did get the 2 free throws from KJ Jackson.
It's official from Patrick Gymnasium in Burlington, Vermont. The Catamounts have beaten Binghamton 84-51. Vermont goes back to the title game in the America East.
For the 100th year in a row or something.
Rosario floats a 3. The rebound, Wetherington on the weak side.
Again, you see that not good shot leads to a quick break and an open three for Wetherington. Swish.
Money.
And that's what I mean about good defense leading to good offense. They had good defense on Rosario. He misses the shot. They rebound. They push it. And now they press. John Gallagher wanted a charge there, but I didn't think there was much contact. I thought that was a dive.
Plenty of time left in this one.
Oh, hours.
Jackson penetrates and kicks it back outside.
Good help from Carroll there. That's what they were lacking in the first half. There was almost no help defense when UMBC got in the paint.
Idle Rock now, 3 to shoot. Rosario going to try to do something with it. That is short.
That was an air ball from 15 feet.
And all of a sudden, this all belongs to Hartford, and Lynch drives the hole.
UMBC cannot make a shot, and Ryan Odom has to call a timeout.
It is a 10-point game with 6:22 to play. J.R. Lynch on that drive. He's got 10 for the game.
And again, good defense leading to good offense. Rosario shoots the air ball, and here comes Lynch exploding down the lane as he is wont to do, as he did last time that two teams played here, and makes basically an open layup. There's very little help. And again, when was UMBC's last field goal? It's been forever.
6:53. In other words, it's been 6 minutes and 53 seconds since
they
their
made
last
a field goal. They scored 2 points during that stretch. And the biggest lead, like you said, was 28. So they've been outscored by 18 in this stretch.
And there's J.R. Lynch, the senior guard from Hoboken, New Jersey, first team All-America East Conference.
And this is what I'm talking about with seniors. And you get down 28 on the road, you think it's over. But they're seniors. They don't want this to be their last game. As John Gallagher said, this is a game where if you don't win, you're putting the jerseys away. So desperation can breed either poor play or good play. And in this case, it's bred very good play. And some panic a little bit by UMBC.
John Gallagher looks like Nostradamus after his comments to Paul Mittermeier at the half.
He does. And there's another turnover.
Just a bad pass from Sherburne trying to go inside. Blagojevic scores, and it's a single-digit game.
And how often do you see Joe Sherburne throw a bad pass like that? He passed up an open three a moment earlier, which you normally wouldn't see him do. And then he throws a pass right into a double team. He's trying not to foul here. Very little contact, but there was contact, and the basket's good, and they go to the line.
That's the first foul on Sherburne. The team's committed 9. That's a story to watch. Hartford only has 4.
And one thing we know for sure now at this point, because they've cut this lead so quickly, UMBC can't run out the clock. They can't just use 20 seconds of possession and try to get the clock down. They've got to run their offense and get something going here. Horvath back in the game. See if they don't try to get something inside for him.
It's a 7-point game. 56-49, less than 6 minutes to go. What a comeback by the Hawks, all in the second half.
They're not afraid to trap the ball right now, and UMBC's been unable to take advantage, and there's a reach-in foul. Still only 5 fouls on Hartford. UMBC already at 9, so every foul for Hartford the rest of this game, they will shoot 2 free throws.
That's 4 fouls now on Jason Dunn.
I suspect UMBC is going to have to make some 1-and-1s, and if you remember, in Hartford, that was their failing. And that was a great play by Idle Rock. Huge.
The tip-in from Idle Rock off the miss from Sherburne.
So Sherburne got the ball inside, and the help came in the form of Carroll. But that left. Nice inbounds play. Carroll comes to help, but that leaves Idle Rock open to get the rebound, and Carroll gets there too late and commits the foul.
Takes a couple blows to the body, but he gets up anyway.
Well, that body's pretty powerful.
He is a big freshman, 6'3", 225. First field goal for UMBC in the last 7.5 minutes, and Idle Rock completes the 3-point play.
He's a big human of any age.
Indeed, 10-point lead for UMBC.
Nice
Good look inside.
Somebody got lost.
Lamar tried to cover, but it was too late, and it's an 8-point game.
I don't think that was his man. I think that was probably Horvath's man.
Drew's trying to work some clock here.
Lamar was like a safety trying to help a cornerback out there. They're trapping every chance they get. And it's another turnover.
2-on-1. 3-on-1.
Carroll the trailer, nice play.
6-point game. And here's pressure now from the Hawks.
And we've talked about how good UMBC's defense has been. They haven't had much chance to set up their half-court defense in this half. There's another deflected pass.
Carroll with the steal. Pass was intended for Lamar. Weatherington.
Good ball movement. He went up and down. That's a walk.
That's a turnover.
That's a break, and that's good defense by Idle Rock.
And look at the face of John Gallagher on this one.
Well,
he's
that's a good call. That's a good call. He went up and down with the ball.
Take a look here.
And again, Idle Rock's defense. This is good ball movement. They get it to their best shooter. Idle Rock gets out there, up, down. It's a walk. And said Ryan Odom's a little biased in the first half. I think John Gallagher's a bit biased too, just the other way.
10th turnover for the Hawks, but only their second in the second half. They've been too busy making threes. Sherburne steps inside the arc.
Sherburne needs to make a shot. He's really been cold in the second half.
Horvath keeps it alive. The Hawks defense, John, looks like UMBC's in the first half.
Horvath screaming at Idle Rock to get in the middle, which is where they wanted him. And that's why.
Jackson.
See, Idle Rock in the middle. He's such a good passer. He sets Jackson up on the nice curl cut.
Jackson now with 11. Lynch cross court for Blagojevic.
Nice pass, and John Gallagher screaming for a timeout. He wanted a foul.
3:42 to play in a 6-point game.
Remarkable comeback by Hartford. And John Gallagher's arguing for a foul. He's not going to get one, but again, you argue for the next call.
Take a look here. Lynch with the drive. Blagojevic with the score. 3:42 left to go.
Gallagher
now will inbound. You see the camera right behind him.
And again, the full court pressure. UMBC has been able to break the press, but they've had some turnovers a long way from the basket when they get trapped at midcourt. And that's what Ryan Odom was probably talking about. Get it across court, but don't lose your concentration. And there's Idle Rock in the middle where he works best.
The floater won't go, and John Carroll pulls it down for the Hawks.
And it's not a shot that Ryan Odom minds at all, although they didn't use any clock. With 3:20 to go, you might have wanted to let the clock run down a little bit, but you got to run your offense. You can't run the clock out this early, as I said before.
Nice screen from Carroll as Weatherington goes baseline and floats it in.
And you're right, the screen from Carroll freed him up, got him away from Sherburne.
23 for Weatherington, 15 in the second half. He has been the star for Hartford. KJ Jackson underneath. That's too strong, and it's run down by Sherburne.
Now remember, it didn't hit the rim, so they've got 15 seconds on the shot clock. And I think UMBC is going to have to hit some one-and-one free throws here before this is over.
The Retrievers are 2 for their last 15 from the field. Lamar, 3 seconds on the clock. Lamar is off. And Carroll will let it go. Does it go out? Yes, it does.
KJ Jackson tried to save it, but didn't get there in time.
It's a 4-point game.
4-point game, 2:28 to go. A long, 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 long time if you're UMBC right now.
Horvath sits down. I don't think he wanted to come out, and Schweitz checks in.
He never wants to come out. But Hartford has no need to rush, and Ryan Odom showing some pressure here just to change things up a little bit, I think.
The inbounds goes to Lynch.
The Retrievers look tired.
2-possession game with 2:20 left. Blagojevic on the back door. It's a 2-point game.
24 points of a 26-point lead gone.
The Hawks are 8 for their last 8. The Retrievers are 2 for their last 15.
16, actually.
And this time a foul will be called on Lynch.
And watch how easy this basket is here. This is what I'm talking about. They looked like they were breathing hard, and nobody got there to help at all. Joe Sherburne so good defensively. Lamar so good defensively. Both of them behind. And now the one-and-ones I talked about. KJ Jackson at the line, 1-and-1. He made 2 earlier.
And this is reminiscent of the trip up to Hartford, where the Retrievers had 1-and-1 chances to take the game away.
They never had that big a lead, though.
That is true. And Jackson hits the first.
First one's usually the harder one. But he's got to, it's too early to start talking about 1- and 2-possession games, but making that one means it's still a 2-possession game. But still a million miles to travel for UMBC.
Jackson with 13 points. He's 4 for 4 from the free throw line tonight. What a basketball game. What a comeback by the Hartford Hawks. Dunn will pop. 3. 1-point game.
Dunn couldn't buy a basket in the first half.
And that is his first three-pointer.
And that was a fall-away guarded 3, nothing but net.
The Hawks have never led in this game.
Well,
Jackson to the hole. Schweitz with the rebound. And he's wrestled to the floor.
Yeah, and it'll be 1-1 for Schweitz, who's not a great free throw shooter. That got rough there. Officials come in very quickly to separate the players. It was Carroll and Schweitz.
And you'll recall last year it got rough in the semi as well.
Yeah, it did. Of course, UMBC was pretty much in control of that game. Good rebound by Schweitz after Jackson misses. And you could almost call that intentional, the way he reached around. And I think they may go look to see if this is a hook and hold on Carroll, because look at him reach over the shoulder. They're going to look to see if this is a hook and hold foul.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And this would be a critical call.
And take a look here. Schweitz getting his right knee examined on the floor, as the officials will go to the monitor and take a look, as what you say, if it was a hook and hold.
Right, because it looked like Carroll came over the shoulder, and the question is, because this is a point of emphasis this year, if you reach over and you hook a guy and then you hold him, that's a flagrant 1, and that's 2 shots in the ball, which is a heck of a lot different than 1-and-1 for a guy who's not a great free throw shooter.
All right, so here's Schweitz going up.
Great job getting position. Here comes Carroll from behind. Watch the right arm.
Yeah.
I think you can call that a hook and hold. He did let go, but he had already reached around and pulled Schweitz back. And this is critical, obviously. And all 3 of them are going to take a look at it. This is going to take a while, folks, by the way. And here comes Jackson. Good defense there by Carroll. Schweitz does a great job. Boom, right there. I think you have to call that. You almost hate to see that called at such a critical time in the game. But if you've got the rule, I think you have to enforce it.
Well, this harkens back to last week. Stony Brook and Binghamton, the big upset by the Bearcats with about a minute to go. Stony Brook had a block charge. They drove the lane and scored the basketball. It was initially called a block on Binghamton. They went to the monitor to look because the defender was inside the semicircle.
Exactly.
And they overruled themselves. It turned into a charge and a 4-point play.
Right, and it was the right call in that case because the defender's feet were just inside the circle.
And they're going over now to explain it to Ryan Odom, the call. Hopefully they come over here as well.
Yeah, they didn't the last time. I hope they will this time, because we sort of need to know what's going on.
It is.
Yeah,
we're getting the word. Flagrant foul, and as the official comes over, we'll get it to you. But we believe it'll be a flagrant foul called on John Carroll. You may be able to hear it. All right, so here we go.
All right, it's a little different, Gary, than what we were saying. They said it was unnecessary roughness, which is a flagrant 1 because he grabbed him around the neck and took him to the ground. So it's 2 shots and the ball, and Joe Sherburne will shoot the 2 free throws because of the injury
to Sam Schweitz.
Who's being helped off the court.
Exactly, being escorted into the locker room.
And now the officials, Larry Serrato's over there explaining something to Ryan Odom. And I think what has to happen is somebody who wasn't in the game has to shoot the free throws. And Joe Sherburne was in the game. Obviously, if you're Ryan Odom, you want Joe Sherburne to shoot the free throws. But Ricky Council, who was not in the game, will come in and shoot the 2.
And let's head over to Paul Mittermeier with more. Paul?
You have to bring somebody off the bench now. Sam Schweitz ran and the trainer was working on his knee, limped back to the locker room. So no, doubtful he'll come back in this game today.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Paul. And of course, if UMBC wins, then the question becomes, what condition will he be in for Saturday? But Ricky Council calmly comes in, makes the first, but misses the second. So it's a one-possession game. Still a lot of time, 128. And UMBC gets the point, but they also get the basketball. And this becomes a critical possession. Full 30 seconds, obviously. And they've got a very small lineup in right now. They've got nobody who's a center on the floor.
Lamar, Council, and Sherburne, along with Idle Rock and Jackson. There's Idle Rock inside the lane. He throws it up, gets his own rebound.
It almost looked like he did it on purpose.
Lamar will pop.
Oh, I think it's going to be Council over the back.
And it is.
Lamar had a good look at it. Just didn't go down. I mean, UMBC's had a lot of good looks here in this second half, and just as Hartford couldn't buy one in the first half, UMBC couldn't buy one in this half. There you can see, that's a good shot. I didn't see a foul on Council. Looked like he got fouled, to be honest. I don't think that's bias. I think they missed that call.
So free throws here for Carroll.
All two-shot fouls. Let's see here if there's something we're missing. The only contact was Carroll on Council. I just think they flat out missed that one. He misses the second one. So it's a one-point game. Chance for Hartford to tie, and they only made one.
1 minute remains in the second half.
The last time these teams were tied, 16 seconds into the game.
And if I am UMBC, I want an inside shot here. They have not made a jump shot since I was single.
That's going back a ways.
Going back a ways.
Sherburne, deep three.
Oh, there you go.
Joe Sherburne!
And he did a little bit of the State Farm belt thing there in honor of Aaron Rodgers and what might be the biggest and last shot of his career here.
Done. They got plenty of time here. Lynch follows his own shot.
Oh, they're lucky that didn't go in, because it could have been a three-point play. Instead, he'll go to the line for two. Shot clock is off now. UMBC had a great chance there to wrap up the game if they could have gotten a rebound. Watch Sherburne, hasn't made a three since the first minute of the game. And there you see, I wasn't making that up, was it?
Discount double check.
There you go. I don't even know what it's called.
Neither do I.
But no, you do. I didn't. I just said Aaron Rodgers. An homage to Aaron Rodgers. And boy, did UMBC need that. That puts Sherburne in double figures. That's how much he struggled offensively in the second half.
Mitchell checks in. Dunn comes out. He's got 4 fouls. Horvath is out of the game. Placer checks in.
That was the first field goal Joe Sherburn's made in the second half.
Sherburne with 10 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Lynch.
All right, now
2-point game.
Hartford is going to try to pressure and get a turnover. If they don't, if UMBC gets the ball in the front court, then they'll have to foul, and they're going to try to keep it in Sherburn's hands if they can.
Well done by UMBC, and they foul Sherburne.
See, I would have waited. I would have waited if I was Hartford. They're only down 2. I would have waited and fouled someone else. Now, Sherburn's got 1-1. This is the last 1-1 of the game, but if you're Ryan Odom, if you got to pick someone to shoot 1-1, I think it's Joe Sherburne. Now watch, I jinxed him, he'll miss.
What a career.
But again, most important, not his career, what's most important right now is he's a 92% free throw shooter.
That is accurate.
He has had a great career, by the way. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I jinxed him. My fault.
Still a 2-point game.
They can tie or take the lead. They're going for the tie. He got bumped, and they're going to have the chance to get the lead.
Look at this from J.R. Lynch.
And this is what J.R. Lynch did last time round. Had 28 in the last game. Struggled with his shot in the first half, but he's been great in the second half. This whole Hartford team's been unbelievable the last 15 minutes. They scored 43 points. Excuse me, 41 points.
The Hartford Hawks have never led in this game.
And they've got an excellent free throw shooter going to the line with a chance to give them the lead. And then it'll come down to what UMBC can run. perhaps, to win the game.
There have been only 2 ties in this game. The first tie was at the 16-second mark of the first half, and the second is at the 16-second mark of the second half. Wow.
Wow is the word.
26-point lead for UMBC has completely evaporated. The Hawks have tied it at 67. They've hit 10 out of their last 11. The Retrievers are 1 for their last 7.
And that was the deep 3 Sherburne hit. But who would have expected Joe Sherburne to miss the front end of the 1-and-1? And that's as shocking as the 26-point lead going away. He's been such a money player throughout his career. He made the big 3 that looked like it might be the game winner. And of course, Hartford, which has proven that they have no give up in them, came right back, scored, fouled. Sherburne misses the 1-and-1. Lynch goes to the basket, and he was just throwing it up because he knew he was bumped and getting fouled. Lynch was, and it goes in, and now he's got a chance to make one and give his team the lead. And I'll be curious to see if John Gallagher, if there's an inbounds pass coming, if he presses. If I were him, I would. Just to use up some, even if you don't get a turnover, you use up some clock and make it more difficult for UMBC, which has struggled so much running its offense in these last 15 minutes.
Here's Lynch now for the lead.
So one step at a time, see if Lynch makes it.
An 84% free throw shooter this year.
Almost came out, but it didn't. And now John Gallagher very smartly calls timeout to set up his defense.
With 16 seconds to play, the Hartford Hawks have their first lead of the game.
Doesn't matter how often you lead, it matters when you lead. And they have the lead now, and I'm going to guess that Hartford's going to press to try to make UMBC use time. If they could get a turnover, even better. That what they don't want to do is foul, because it is 2 shots now. 9 fouls for Hartford. If I'm UMBC, they've got to get it inbounds. I think I ultimately want Joe Sherburne to touch the ball here. KJ Jackson, they might go to KJ Jackson and let him go to the basket. Remember, they don't need a 3, they only need a 2. Or they might have Jackson or Sherburne go to the basket and try to pitch it to Lamar, perhaps, for a 3. The only thing is, UMBC's been so cold from 3-point range. They've gotten good looks from 3-point range in these last 10 minutes, but nothing's gone in.
They're 4 for 15 in the second half, 26%.
I think what you want to do, again, as I said, is you want the ball to go inside and try to either get a good look inside or get fouled. Well, I would be surprised to see a drive and kick. I would expect to see some kind of drive.
I would agree. That's been UMBC's game.
And it looks like Horvath is going to inbound, which is unusual. And they're going to try to get Jackson or Sherburne with the ball coming up the court, and Hartford is going to pressure, because why not? The pressure is what's helped them get back in the game.
Ryan Odom has called a couple of key plays late in games. The win over Albany, the 3 by Council. The win over New Hampshire, the 3 by Placer.
There's Jackson. Sees it on the line for both teams.
10 seconds to play. Hawks by 1.
Sherburne double teams. Got to find somebody.
Jackson will drive. Land of the Giants.
He got fouled.
A blocking foul.
He got fouled.
Sends KJ Jackson to the line with 3.7 seconds to play.
And it's worth noting here, Jackson will shoot 2. And regardless, assuming he makes at least 1, Hartford does have a timeout left if they want to use it. UMBC does not. Jackson's been good from the foul line tonight, but wow, what pressure here. And he missed the first. What pressure. Now he has to make this one, or UMBC's got a foul. If he makes this one, then does John Gallagher call timeout?
We're tied at 68. They will not call the timeout.
What are they doing? They're taking so much time.
Lynch blocked. Overtime in the semifinal.
It's almost inevitable. Particularly in the game here, and they had basically a 15-minute lull that led Hartford get the game back to this point.
Horvath and Carroll in the circle, and Sherburne wins the tip for UMBC. Foul trouble, Carroll with 4, Dunn with 4, both for the Hawks.
Again, that's a shot that KJ Jackson would have taken probably earlier in the game. Horvath's going to be surrounded here. Good defense by Carroll, but Jackson comes in with a rebound.
Idle Rock, Jackson off the glass.
Nice look by Idle Rock.
Retrievers take the lead, 30 seconds into overtime. Again, the Vermont Catamounts have already beaten Binghamton. They're in the final. They'll host.
They called a foul on Idle Rock when nothing was going on. I don't know what that foul was. It certainly didn't affect the play at all, and it's 2 shots because both teams are in the double bonus. Let's see here if there's any contact. There's no contact worth calling there.
I think they're calling the foul on Sherburne.
Oh, really? Okay, then maybe there was contact that I missed, but it looked like Sherburne just deflected the ball out of bounds.
I think he had a hand on Blagojevic's back.
That's kind of a cheapo call when you're in overtime with 2 seasons on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the players decide the game.
Blagojevic hits the second of 2 and the first, so he's got 15, and we're tied again at 70.
And now here's what's interesting is Hartford has basically backed off its pressure, even though Lynch is on the ball. But they backed off their full court pressure, which did so much to get them back in the game.
Sherburne.
Oh, man. That only hit the rim 7 times.
Jackson battling hard, but it's out of bounds off UMBC. How many times have we seen that shot from Sherburne where it bounces around and goes in?
Yeah, I mean, it did earlier in the game for Lamar, remember? But not so much now.
Tied at 70, a minute into overtime. Dunn with 4 fouls, good ball movement here. Dunn will pop straight away. Rebound, Jackson. That's 7 rebounds for the guard.
Played a little more than 2 hours and nothing's been decided.
As Chuck Thompson used to say, the folks are as good as the people. Steal, Lynch. It's a 2-point lead for the Hawks.
And if UMBC loses this game, it's going to be turnovers and poor shots that are the reason they lost it, because they have allowed Hartford not to play against their half-court defense. And that's what happened right there.
That's 13 turnovers for UMBC. Idle Rock kisses it off the glass.
He's really been their best offensive player in the second half.
That's 13 for the freshman. 2:50 left to go in this one, tied at 72. A berth in the conference championship game on the line. Lynch for 3. Idle Rock pulls it down.
That was a big miss by Lynch. You don't expect him to miss, especially the way he's played down the stretch.
A 41% three-point shooter this year, number 4 in the league. He's 1 for 8 tonight.
His best offense has been going to the basket. He did hit that key line drive 3 that kind of helped get their run started.
5 to shoot for Lamar. Carroll pulls it down.
And again, not a bad shot off a post-up for Arkel Lamar, but he's been cold as ice in the second half, too, like most of his teammates. We've seen UMBC miss a lot of shots in the second half that you normally expect them to make. And a lot of that's just pressure.
10 to shoot.
Almost went up and down again, didn't he?
Dunn launches.
Oh, nice rebound
with
by
a very
Lamar.
athletic rebound, and he's hurt. It's 4 on 5 the other way. Idle Rock. A blocking foul is called. And that'll send Idle Rock to the line.
Lamar signaling the bench he's okay. He wanted a foul called there, but I thought he fell on his own, to be honest. See, my problem with the officials is they've been inconsistent. Sometimes they're calling little tiny bits of contact. There was a little bit of contact there. I wouldn't have called the foul, but the foul they called a minute earlier on Sherburne was just as minimal contact, and that one they did call. All players and coaches ask for is consistency. If one thing's a foul, the other thing's a foul.
3 fouls on Lynch. This is 2 shots for Idle Rock. Idle Rock missed 2 of the last 3 games, or actually missed both of the last 2 regular season games for UMBC.
Well, he missed, yeah, and then he was able to come back for the tournament game against Albany.
Hits both free throws. He's got 15.
He's been critical for UMBC tonight.
The Hawks are 7 for 25 from 3-point distance.
John Gallagher trying to get his players in position for this offensive set.
Jackson almost stole that one from behind on Carroll, who works on Horvath. Now they double with Lamar.
Good defense there by Horvath to keep Carroll away from the basket.
10 to shoot. Weatherington one-on-one with Lamar.
See, that's just a little bump foul. The same official keeps calling touch fouls. The other 2 guys are not. Let's watch here. See, I don't see a foul there. If anything, it was Wetherington's left arm that, see that? Created the contact. And I don't like to criticize officials, as you know, but I think Edwin Young has just been off tonight.
A 78% free throw shooter is Wetherington. He's perfect tonight. The Hawks are 20 of 26. They're at 76%. They were at 74 for the year.
And again, when you're in overtime and seasons are on the line, you don't call touch fouls. I'm sorry. I mean, it was a good no call when Lamar went down. But this was 2 bad calls here in overtime by Edwin Young.
Tied at 74.
1 minute remains in the first overtime.
Hartford in their zone there, double teaming Idle Rock. You're gonna make them take a jump shot.
In the lane for Idle Rock. Fighting hard is Idle Rock, and it's out of bounds off Idle Rock.
I think it was.
So the Hawks now with a chance to take the lead.
Watch the drive here. And it went off Idle Rock there at the end. He and Carroll battling for the ball.
Lynch with Horvath. Spreading the floor now with 10 to shoot. Lynch, the step back.
That was a tough shot. Horvath did a good job getting his hand up. Plenty of time. They don't have to shoot. They don't have to shoot. They don't have to shoot. They do.
Taken away by Lynch.
Turns it over. They don't have to shoot either. They can hold for 1.
And that's what they're going to do.
And no, there's a foul. There's a foul.
All right, let's take it from Lynch's drive.
All right, good defense here by Horvath. Gets that long arm up there. And good rebound by Lamar, and he takes off. This is where you back it off and play for 1. Look, it's 1 on 3. He gets stripped. Here comes Lynch with the ball. Jackson tries to reach in and does commit the foul.
You put an 84% free throw shooter at the line. The shot clock was off when Lamar took that shot.
Now UMBC has a timeout left. And we'll see if Ryan Odom chooses to use it or simply wants to get into his offense. And now John Gallagher's going to call the timeout, which I think is a good move. Set up your defense.
The Hawks are 23 of 29 from the free throw line. Lynch now with 19 points. And they've got a 2-point lead. And, you know, after Lamar took that shot and was stripped, after the foul was called on the way back, Horvath kind of pointed to him and said, look at the clock, look at the clock.
Well, understandable that Horvath would be frustrated, but at that point, it's a moot point. He's already been stripped, and Hartford has the lead. And now, very similar situation to the end of regulation, except that UMBC's down 2, not 1. So if they go to the basket here and score or get fouled, the best they can do is tie and create a second overtime. Now, if you're Ryan Odom, do you want to go for the win here, or do you want to try to get inside and tie it and play another overtime? Hartford has basically played an iron 5 here in the last 15, 20 minutes, but you're playing on adrenaline at this point. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to go to the basket and maybe get a kick to Sherburne and say, let's win it or lose it with our best guy.
Here we go. 10 seconds to play. Jackson inside for Horvath. He is fouled by Carroll with 8.3 left to go.
A lot of time, 8.3. John Gallagher does have a timeout if he wants to use it. 5 fouls on John Carroll.
He's gone, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Here we go.
And there's Jackson driving. Nice pass, and no question about the foul. John Carroll knew it. He just turned and walked away. So now everybody gets the timeout that should not exist in the rules.
Hartford by 2 with 8.3 left. Horvath will be at the line. Carroll's fouled out. Dunn still has 4 fouls for Hartford. The Retrievers have Jackson and Lamar with 4 apiece.
All right, well, at this moment, Brandon Horvath has to make 2 free throws. The last time he was at the foul line, he missed 2 free throws badly. Now, he's one of those guys who will miss 2 free throws badly and then make his next 20. But he's going to have to make these 2 to keep the season alive.
Horvath is a 68% free throw shooter coming in. The Retrievers not a great free throw shooting team. 68% overall.
If he misses 1, then UMBC is going to have to foul right away. If he makes 2, then we'll see if John Carroll or Ryan Odom call a timeout. They each have 1 left.
It's a 1-point game after the make by Horvath.
Swish that first one.
And now Horvath is coming to the bench.
I think they might have spotted some blood.
A lot of blood tonight.
Well, at least they spotted it this time before it was all over the floor. But in effect, they're freezing the shooter.
That's true.
And he's standing up there at the line. He's ready to shoot the second foul shot. And he's got to walk away and get a bandage put on his arm.
Horvath with 9 off the bench tonight. It's a 1-point game, and Horvath has 1 free throw left. Still plenty of time here, 8.3, and each team has a timeout. We're tied at 76.
That's some coolness there, and John Gallagher, neither coach calling timeout. I think J.R. Lynch is going to come right down, and he's going to try to take the shot to win the game.
2 seconds,
Good
1
defense.
second for the win.
Great defense.
Double overtime.
Yep. And I have to drive to New York tonight.
Well, you're not going to have a lot of traffic.
No, I won't have traffic. I just have to try to stay awake at the wheel. This game will certainly give me plenty of adrenaline.
We'll never forget this one. Here we go.
J.R. Lynch here, and you know he's going to take the shot. There's no doubt about it. And good defense. Twice, K.J. Jackson has played excellent defense on J.R. Lynch when he was trying to get into position for a winning shot. That time, he had plenty of time. The first time, he only had 3.1 seconds and had to rush it. This time, he had plenty of time and yet couldn't get to the basket. And excellent defense by K.J. Jackson.
So now who's got more momentum going into double OT?
Not me. I think the advantage that UMBC has is John Carroll's fouled out of the game. And the starters for Hartford have played a lot of basketball tonight.
And to that point, Weatherington has not come out. Lynch has played 44 or 45 minutes.
Well, there you go. And John Carroll, another of the starters, is out of the game. So John Gallagher has to go to the bench, which he doesn't really like to do very much. So we'll see how he manipulates the bench. Now, Sam Schweitz is back over on the UMBC bench, but I think Paul's right. He's probably not coming back in. So it's going to be probably the same 5 for UMBC for most of this overtime, I would think. Horvath, Sherburne, Lamar, I am tired. Idlerock, and K.J. Jackson. And those five have been on the court for most of the second half.
Now, Gallagher brings in Zach Brown, a sophomore from Princeton, New Jersey.
He's in there to try to win the tip.
That is correct. He has not seen a minute of action here tonight. Horvath and Brown in the circle. And now the referee going over telling Lynch he needs to separate himself a bit from Council. Or correction, Lamar. And the Retrievers will win it on the sideline. It was well done by Sherburne to run it down.
Yep, good job, and good job by Horvath to get his hand on the ball against a guy who's probably a pretty good leaper, although I can't begin to tell you since he hasn't played tonight.
Lamar inside from Sherburne.
Nice pass by Sherburne, good post up by Lamar.
That's 7 assists to go with 10 points and 10 rebounds for the grad student.
And what UMBC wants to do is they want to make Hartford earn it here. They don't want to foul.
Lynch.
That's a block.
No, the other way.
Wow.
Big call.
Honestly, I thought that was a block. Edwin Young and I haven't agreed once tonight, I don't think. But here you go. Lynch on an angle. Sherburne is very good. He's moving. That's a block, Gary.
That's 4 fouls on Lynch.
UMBC was owed one, though, or maybe 2. And Joe Sherburne's very good at getting squared up that way to take a charge, but he was moving. Haven't been a lot of block charge calls in this game. That was a terrible pass by Horvath, and fortunately for UMBC, it goes out of bounds off of Dunn.
Take a look at the dive here from Dunn. So now they have Twyman in the game.
I don't know what Brandon Horvath was thinking there. Dunn tried to save it. 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Ball in the hands of Jackson. The Hawks have come all the way back from 26 to force double overtime. Sherburne baseline over Twyman, and the tip for Sherburne.
Joe Sherburne is going to find a way, isn't he?
He really is. That's 12 for Joe Sherburne, and it's a 4-point lead for UMBC.
How much has he been out of the game tonight?
Joe Sherburne has played 44 of 47 minutes.
And I bet the 3 minutes he was out were in the first half.
Horvath. Idle Rock.
It was a tired pass, and Idle Rock made a terrible mistake there. He needed to pull the ball back out.
And Horvath hooks him from behind.
Okay,
that'll be a foul.
That was tired basketball. Mentally tired basketball by the Retrievers. Idle Rock, but he didn't need to go to the basket here. Okay? The defense is back. Pull it back out. You got a 4-point lead. And then Horvath, I have not yet seen a foul by Horvath, but that doesn't mean there wasn't one.
That's 4 fouls now on Horvath. He joins Lamar and Jackson. And Blagojevic at the line. This team has hit 79% of their free throws tonight.
That's why I'm saying it was such a foolish foul. 90 feet from the basket. Make Hartford earn it. And Idle Rock made a mistake not pulling the ball out. And then Horvath made a mistake committing the foul.
You see the referee waving to the UMBC bench to sit down.
Yeah, they got more important things to worry about at this point than whether a bench is standing or not.
Oh, they are money from the free throw line.
And that's why you can't put them there. You put them there, they're going to make them.
17 for Blagojevic, 7 free throws in 9 attempts. It's a 2-point lead for UMBC with the ball.
And you want Sherburne touching the ball here because he's not likely to make a bad pass.
Jackson inside, waits, and scores!
That was huge for KJ Jackson. Good patience there, using the shot fake to clear some space for himself.
18 for Jackson.
If they're going to score here, make them earn it. Don't foul them.
46 points in the paint for UMBC tonight.
Wyman's in there because he's a shooter.
So is Dunn.
Yep.
Wow.
John Gallagher wants timeout.
Timeout, Hartford. It's a 1-point game.
Well, the game I've got in New York is at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I hope I'll be there in time for tip.
You may make it. Let's take a look at Dunn's bomb here.
Tough shot by Dunn there. And he, of course, couldn't make a shot in the first half, and he's been outstanding here late.
Dunn now with 10. He's got 2 3-pointers, 1 in the second half and 1 in double overtime. The Hawks are now 8 for 27 from downtown. This is a shade under 30%. UMBC with only 6 3-pointers tonight. UMBC led by 26 with 15 minutes to go. And John Gallagher was right. He told Paul Mittermeier, our sideline guy at the half, that first half was not representative of his team.
Oh, he said it was our worst half of the season.
And that he thinks the second half is going to be their best.
And you know what? Win or lose,
he's right.
He's right.
The Hawks came back from a 22-point deficit against Albany to win in overtime.
It's a gutsy, gutsy performance by Hartford.
You know, this is a very experienced team.
It's so easy to say, okay, you know, UMBC was just too good. We didn't have it tonight. They took exactly the opposite approach. They said, we're going to get back in this game, and they did.
So the Hawks now with a little momentum after the Dunn three have cut it to 1. Takes the Retrievers about 10 seconds to get into their offense here. Jackson and Blagojevic. He'll drive. The tip in from Horvath.
Long arms of Brandon Horvath there.
Long arm of the law. 3-point lead for UMBC.
And what you want to do now is try to deny that 3-point line, especially with a guy like Dunn.
Horvath with 12. Idle Rock on Dunn with 10 to shoot. Lynch will launch and hit.
Wow, that's just the other team giving scholarships. There was nothing wrong with the defense. He hit a deep 3.
Only his second in 10 tries. He's a 40% shooter for the season.
But money players are money players, right?
22 points for J.R. Lynch. Blocking foul called on J.R. Lynch.
See,
and he's out of the game.
That's a good call. But if I'm John Gallagher, I'm saying, wait a minute. The Sherburne play was a charge, and that's a block?
And that's exactly what the assistants and John Gallagher are saying.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. I thought that easily could have been called a charge. But
you see J.R. Lynch out of the basketball game now with 5 fouls.
And that's obviously huge. He's their ball handler. He starts their defense. He hits this shot.
Oh.
So attrition becoming a factor here. But I really thought if the Joe Sherburne charge, when he took the charge, was a charge, that was a charge too. And again, as I said all night, all you ask for in officials is consistency. These teams have not gotten that tonight.
So not only are they down their big forward in John Carroll, now they're down their big ball handler.
KJ Jackson bricks the first free throw.
J.R. Lynch fouls out with 22. Exhorting his team from the bench.
And I got to say, KJ Jackson has looked tired here in the overtimes, because he's been in the game most of the night too. Makes the second.
1 of 2. It's a 1-point lead with 1:37 to go.
And now Dunn will be the ball handler, guarded by Idlerock.
And their best 3-point shooter. And it's stolen away momentarily. But Mitchell gets it back for the Hawks. Double overtime at the Event Center. America East Conference semifinal. They dump it in for Blagojevic with Sherburne.
He's bigger and stronger than Sherburne. He's a tough guard in there for Sherburne.
And he muscles his way in. And he draws the foul.
Lamar came from behind to help and committed the foul.
And if it is on Lamar, that's number 5.
Oh, they called it on Sherburne.
Sherburne, number 3.
I thought it was Lamar coming from behind. Now watch here. Blagojevic's just too strong for Sherburne. That's why Lamar comes in to help. And Sherburne did reach with that right arm.
So Blagojevic now with 1:13 left to go.
And as you said, they have been superb from the foul line.
26 for 32. 82%, 81%. Now Twyman will come out.
That's offense, defense.
And Boxes checks back in for the Hawks. Blagojevic for the second of 2 in a tie game. A rare miss.
We jinxed them. 26 out of 32, and they missed one. So now they're only shooting 78%.
They've outscored the Retrievers by 9 from the charity stripe.
And I think UMBC is going to want to get it inside to somebody. Horvath the best bet. He's got a mismatch in there.
KJ Jackson all the way. Rebound Horvath rejected. And a foul from behind.
Some of KJ Jackson's best offense has been setting up his rebounders tonight. Again, this is with the left hand. Horvath has position, and Blagojevich fouls from behind. If KJ Jackson ever figures out how to finish consistently, he's going to be virtually unstoppable. But Horvath got fouled. Now he made 2 to create this second overtime. Everybody shooting 2, of course, here. We're way past double bonus for both teams. That was about an hour ago.
Makes the first.
I thought the most amazing thing Horvath did was, after getting frozen by the officials,
came back and hit it.
Put the patch on his arm, came back and hit the second one with the game on the line.
Twyman back in the game for Hartford. Hits them both.
Clutch free throw shooting there by Horvath. Now freshman point guard.
Mitchell will bring it up. The three-point threat here is done, but they don't need a 3. Weatherington as well.
Weatherington can shoot that 3 also.
Sherburne is plastered on him.
I don't think they want Mitchell to be their shooter here.
Blocked!
That's why.
By KJ Jackson!
And they almost got a steal. And they fouled Jackson.
24 seconds left in this one.
Well, KJ Jackson's been 1 for 2 the last 2 times he's been at the line. Again, I don't think they wanted Mitchell taking this shot, especially against one of the first-team all-defensive players in the league. And then a little careless there on the pass by Sherburne. They almost get the steal. Jackson gets 2, and as I said, he's 1 for 2 the last 2 times at the line.
Now, careless perhaps, but you have to give Mitchell credit for not giving up on the play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This free throw now huge for UMBC. It's a 1-possession game at the moment. That's 20 points now for Jackson.
Both coaches should be proud of their teams, regardless of the outcome here.
Big free throws. 2-possession game with 24 to play.
Obviously, you don't want to foul a 3-point shooter. If they want to go to the basket and shoot, you just give it to them.
Look at Horvath out on Dunn.
They're killing some time here.
15, Dunn will launch. Rebound, Idle Rock, fouled by Twyman.
And great defense by Horvath. Got out on the shooter. Used those long arms and did not foul.
And the crowd and the bench on their feet at the event center. What a basketball game. What a comeback by the Hawks, and what perseverance by UMBC.
Well, this is one of those games where the real TV guys would say it's a shame either one of these teams has to lose. Happens to be true tonight.
What, so we're real not TV guys?
No, you are. I'm not. And just play a TV guy on TV sometimes. And they would obviously like Idle Rock to make this second one, because that way there's no way a 4-point play can tie the game if UMBC made a mental error on a 3-point shot.
It's a 5-point margin for UMBC, 10.6 left.
Guard the 3-point line.
Too much time.
This is where they're missing their point guard.
Yeah.
Game's over.
It is. UMBC perseveres, and they're back in the America East Conference Championship for the 2nd straight year.
And nice hug between the 2 coaches. And